It's time to elevate your game by learning about elevation. No? Okay. Last week we went over wind and how it will affect your carry on different clubs and how different distances matter, which, by the way, if you haven't checked out that video, feel free to click one back in the playlist and you'll find that and learn a little bit more about wind. But one of the major points we review in that video is the longer the ball travels in the air, the more the wind is going to affect the ball. And it's pretty simple. It's actually going to be very similar to elevation. Hitting a ball downhill, aka being in the air longer time, as opposed to hitting in uphill, is going to be a greater impact. And obviously, if you're going uphill, it's going to be shorter carry, and if you're going downhill, it's going to be longer carry. That part is pretty obvious when you think about it. What's not obvious is exactly how you calculate those distances. Now let's take a look at where the distance info position is located. Currently, I have it set up where it is in my HUD display in the top right-hand corner of your screen. So this is the total distance to the hole, 507 yards, 44 feet down. As opposed to right in the middle of my screen is where I'm aiming, 296 yards, or if I move closer, 274, 52 feet down. So it's all relative to where you're aiming. If you are not seeing this on your screen, just so you can find it, go to Settings and then go to Display in HUD, and then towards the bottom you will see Distance Info Position. If you choose that to On Marker, that will change it back to the old method, and now I can see way down there, it's no longer in the top right, it is actually on the flag itself. It's a personal preference really, but some societies do lock it, so you want to play around with that and make sure that you have the best setting on. Most people do prefer it in the HUD. That being said, what do we do with that information? As you can see here, I'm playing the first hole at Riviera, one of the most notable holes for elevation change off the first tee box. It's 52 feet down to the center of the fairway where I'm aiming, and roughly about 60 feet down the whole way from the tee box until the fairway does split, and it's 44 feet down total to the hole. So, what is that going to do? As we just discussed, the longer the ball is in the air, the more it is going to carry. So it is going to go over 296 yards. It's going to go over 201, 164, depending on the club. And note, I have wind off, so this is not a factor on this shot. What we can do to visualize that is go into the difficulty and turn on the Pro Vision Elevation. How much does this carry extra? 181. So I am using a 164 club. It's now carrying 17 yards extra. 3 hybrid 222. That's carrying 17 yards extra. We have a driver, also 17 yards extra. Now this isn't going to be perfect because as you can see here, I turned it back on and we're aiming further at 52 feet down, and then as we get closer it's actually a little bit more downhill, so this fairway goes a little bit uphill technically at the end if you're standing in it, right? So 63 as I get closer, 61, and as I go further it's going to be a little bit less than 60. Now what's a quick way to do some math to figure this out? Well, based on calculations, it's roughly 1 yard of elevation up or down plays about 1 yard of distance lost or gained. So, in this particular case, we are looking at 56 feet down, not yards. So what do we have to do to convert that to yards? You divide it by 3. So if you calculate this out, 56 divided by 3, it's about 18.6, right? That's about how much extra I am going to gain. It's not going to be perfect, it's a rough estimate, but for the majority of these clubs, it's always going to be this number here, the elevation lost or gained, and you are going to add that if you are going downhill, or you can subtract it if you are going uphill. So for example, this 3-iron going down 60, I would expect this to carry roughly 20 yards more to 221 if I were to hit this club. So that is the quick math way of doing it. I have a full breakdown on a level surface, because this isn't exactly level, it does change, that I've done in the lab. I'm going to show you that, and let's take a look in detail and how far off it is, and if you want to do the quick math or you want to do the detailed math. Before I get to that, if you like quick tips like this, consider hitting that like button and or subscribe button if you want to see more. I also do stream live on Twitch my competitive golf rounds, usually every Tuesday at 6:30 Eastern, if you'd like to follow along there. Hey, let's take a look at the detailed breakdown, shall we? All right, here we go. 20 feet up, 40 feet up, and 60 feet up. I've measured and tested these distances in the course designer mode, and I've created a perfect landscape. So everything is flat, there is no wind, and these are the results that we yielded. So for driver, as you can see here, my 296 driver loses about 7 yards carry for every 20 feet up. What's quick math again? 20 divided by 3? It's roughly about 7. As you go down, all of these are about 20, and as you can see, it's roughly between 6 and 7 the whole way down. A little bit less when you get to the shorter clubs, especially once you get to the wedges. Same applies to 40. 40 divided by 3, it's roughly a little over 13, 14. As you can see, it plays about the whole way down. A little bit longer towards the top, a little bit shorter at the bottom, and then finally, 60 divided by 3 is roughly 20. So consider about the middle of your bag about to be exactly 3 to 1. As you go up though, also consider, so once you get 60, 80, maybe 100 feet, it's not gonna quite play as much as you go down to the lower clubs. So here it's only 15, so if you're trying to be exact, it is a little bit of an exponential type thing. So these results are gonna yield a little bit crazy differences when you get to peak elevation. Now let's scroll down and review the yardage up. So now we're looking at 20 feet up. Once again, it's roughly 6, 7 for 20 feet up. It's going to be roughly 13, a little bit less for 40 feet up, and then roughly 20, a little bit less for 60 feet up. Use these reference points, use them to help you become a better golfer. Next week, we're going to review lie and how the lie percentage is going to hurt or help you throughout the entire course. Till next time.